Harry's lights out over his libel to the Game of Thrones cast with Queen's shocking statement. Prince Harry has criticised the royal family's silence on Jeremy Clarkson's horrific newspaper column about Meghan Markle. Last month, broadcaster Clarkson wrote in The Sun that he hated the Duchess of Sussex and dreamt of her being forced to parade naked through the streets of every town in Britain while crowds threw excrement at her. In an interview with ITV, Harry said Buckingham Palace's silence in response to the column was deafening. He told ITV news presenter Tom Bradby, "Not only is what Clarkson said horrific and hurtful and cruel towards my wife, but it also encourages other people around the UK and around the world, men particularly, to go and think that it's acceptable to treat women that way." Jeremy Clarkson said in a tweet, "Oh dear, I've rather put my foot in it. In a column I wrote about Meghan Markle, I made a clumsy reference to a scene in Game of Thrones, and this has gone down very badly with a great number of people. I'm horrified to have caused so much hurt, and I shall be more careful in the future." Game of Thrones has been creating a fan base not just among the netizens, but also celebrities and famous personalities. One such personality is Prince Harry. Belonging to Britain and being well versed in its history, the Duke of Sussex admits that he never watched Game of Thrones. Now, Cooper discussing with Prince Harry how he finds the royal family dynamic to be like Game of Thrones, and the Duke responded, "I don't watch Game of Thrones, but there's definitely dragons, and that's a third party, which is the British press." Director Mark Mylod himself and main actor Pedro Pascal have confirmed that the Queen also watched the film with her grandson Harry. Now the Duke's statements go against the words of his late grandmother and showed disrespect to the entire film crew. One of those moments came when Queen Elizabeth II was on a trip to the Game of Thrones set while in Belfast. The monarch and her husband, the late Duke of Edinburgh, were shown around some of the fantasy series' sets and invited to inspect multiple props. Then, after conversations with the Game of Thrones cast, Queen Elizabeth was asked whether she'd like to take a seat on the Iron Throne. Perhaps unsurprisingly, the monarch politely declined, choosing instead to enjoy the throne made of 1,000 swords from a safe distance. However, what may come as a surprise is the reason why Queen Elizabeth chose to decline the invitation to sit on the throne. The reason why was actually due to an antiquated rule, which states that a monarch cannot sit on a throne of another country or state besides that of their own. This law was designed to preserve the notion that a country's throne was exclusively to be sat on by their reigning monarch, so as to not interfere with the hierarchy of power. In fact, it could actually be considered a symbol of aggression for a monarch to sit on the throne of another country. The Queen made it a point to be very well informed on several different subjects. Harold is just a simple idiot. I imagine he'd be the village idiot if that was still